Ukrainian forces carried out another successful strike. Operators from the 59th Brigade of the Armed Forces Unmanned Systems managed to bring down a Russian helicopter using an FPV drone. The footage was released on the official channel of Major Robert Magyar Brovdi, commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces. The Mi-28 helicopter was destroyed by an FPV drone operated by pilots of the 59th Brigade of the Unmanned Systems Forces, the statement reads. A later update on the Unmanned Systems Forces Telegram channel clarified that operators from the 59th Separate Assault Brigade, Steppe Predators, destroyed a Russian Mi-8 helicopter, not a Mi-28. The incident took place near the settlement of Kotlyarivka. The Mi-8 is a Russian multipurpose helicopter used for troop and cargo transport, medical evacuation, and as an aerial support platform for ground forces. Each unit is valued at no less than $10 million. In this case, Ukrainian forces brought it down with a small FPV drone costing around $500. The result is the work of our intelligence and our people. The press service of the 59th Separate Assault Unmanned Systems Brigade, named after Yakov Hanzyuk, added, "Anyone who comes there for a look should be prepared. For the future, don't give us surprises from the air. It will be costly for you." The unit also recently reported that Magyar's birds shot down a Russian Orion strike and reconnaissance UAV. Such high-value drones are relatively rare in Russian service, so each loss has a meaningful impact. The Orion was intercepted using a drone interceptor and is now the largest UAV downed by Magyar's birds. Robert Magyar Brovdi published a report summarizing the results of his first 100 days as commander of the Armed Forces Unmanned Systems Forces. The Unmanned Systems Forces grouping was formed only on June 11, 2025, but in that time, the unit has implemented several organizational and technical changes that improved the effectiveness of drone use in combat operations. Over those 100 days, 76,859 enemy targets destroyed or damaged verified, 18,501 enemy personnel killed, recorded 402,832 combat sorties flown, of which 197,710 were strike missions, and 205,122 were reconnaissance missions. And this is also the result of the work of the Defense Forces of Ukraine. A tractor with a 130mm 52P 482 M46, which was developed after the Second World War and entered service in 1954. It was one of the longest-range artillery systems of its time, which still makes it relevant today. And according to various sources, the Russians are widely employing it in combat. But now it's just scrap metal. In the Kramatorsk sector, Ukrainian troops destroyed Russian artillery. In particular, it was Mista B and Giacynt B. As reported by the land forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, this time the strike was carried out by the pilots of FPV drones of the 5th Separate Assault Brigade of Kyiv. In addition, other invaders' equipment came under attack. We hit Mista B, Giacynt B, and several other enemy guns. Each precise strike reduces the fire threat to our defenders, the ministry said. As you can see from the video from the battlefield, FPV drones are targeting the gun barrel, which is guaranteed to disable a critical element and render the gun inoperable, even if the carriage or mechanics are intact. The 152mm Msta-B howitzer, GRAU Index 2A65, NATO classification, M1987, is designed to destroy artillery and mortar batteries, tanks and other armored vehicles, field fortifications and defenses, control centers and air and missile defense systems, suppress manpower and firepower. The Giacynt B is a 152mm towed artillery gun developed in the Soviet Union in 1975. Despite having the same caliber as other Soviet-made howitzers, the Giacynt B uses higher-powered ammunition with an elongated case. This and the .53 caliber barrel gave the gun significantly better ballistics and a maximum range of up to 33 kilometers. It is worth reminding that the Armed Forces of Ukraine also received Giacynt B systems, which were previously in service in Finland. Lukashenko threatened a full-scale war with Poland over its plans to shoot down Russian aerial objects. If they hit something over Kaliningrad, we'll have to fight, as they say in Russia, with all we've got. Is that what they want? I hope they calm down, he said, warning that Belarus would not stand aside if NATO takes action against Russian aircraft. Russia has declined all proposed talks with Ukraine in recent weeks, including trilateral formats involving Trump or other U.S. officials, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said. He added that Moscow continues to avoid dialogue despite ongoing efforts from Washington to push for peace.
You ask what's changed. I think what's changed is the reality on the ground where the Russians are killing a lot of people, they're losing a lot of people, they don't have much to show for it. We remain committed to peace, but it takes two to tango. And unfortunately, what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the Russians have refused to sit down with any bilateral meetings with the Ukrainians. They've refused to sit down with any trilateral meetings where the president or some other member of the administration could sit down with the Russians and the Ukrainians. So our view is we want peace here. We've been actively pursuing peace from the very beginning of the administration, but the Russians have got to wake up and accept reality here. A lot of people are dying. They don't have a lot to show for it. How many more people are they willing to lose? How many more people are they willing to kill for very little, if any, gain in the military advantage on the ground there? I think the answer is hopefully not that much, but certainly our attitude here is we're going to keep on working for peace, and we hope the Russians actually wake up to the reality on the ground.
Russia unleashed a mass wave of missiles and drones across Ukraine, striking multiple regions in coordinated night attacks. Kyiv came under heavy fire, with explosions and blazes reported in Solomyansky, Sviatoshin, Holosivsky, and Dniprovsky districts. A 5-story residential building was damaged, leaving families scrambling for safety in the dark. Zaporizhzhia suffered some of the heaviest destruction. At least 2 strikes hit the city, sparking major fires in a residential building and damaging both critical infrastructure and an educational facility. Local officials confirmed that 21 people were injured, including 3 children, while rescue teams worked through the rubble and smoke. Civilian casualties were reported nationwide. Among the dead is a 12-year-old child, underscoring once again the human cost of Russia's campaign. In Bila Tserkva, local channels captured the moment a Russian Shahed drone slammed into a shopping center, a blatant strike on a civilian target with no military value. The attacks leave Ukraine's cities scarred and its people mourning yet again. Beyond the destruction of infrastructure, the message is clear. This is not warfare aimed at the front lines, but an attempt to terrorize civilians, break morale, and inflict suffering on the most vulnerable. For Ukraine, each strike hardens resolve, proving that Russia's campaign is plain terrorism dressed as war. Another defeat for Putin's propaganda machinery. Pro-European PAS party, led by President Maia Sandu, has won Moldova's parliamentary elections with just over 50% of the vote, securing an absolute majority. The pro-Russian Patriotic Bloc came second with 24%, while 3 smaller parties crossed the 5% threshold. The elections were seen as a choice between closer European Union integration or renewed Russian influence. Pro-Russian leaders, including Igor Dodon, have already announced protests, alleging fraud despite international monitors only reporting minor incidents.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.